Next episode, Prank Callers. Mordecai and Rigby are watching an unfunny video about someone who prank calls other people, and they decide to prank call other people. Wow, this show is so unpredictable. They prank their friends, and now they want to prank the master prank caller. But Benson storms in and destroys their phone. But lucky them, Pops gives them an 80s phone. And he shows them that those phones can cause brain tumors. Can somebody please tell me who came out with this brilliant idea, because I want to slap that person with a scorpion fish. Seriously, what's next? An abortion joke? So they call the master prank caller a few times, but they always fail miserably. The master prank caller warns them, but they don't stop. So the master prank caller is now revealed to be a phone, and he sends them back to the 80s. More specifically to 1982, the year that ABBA split up. They also meet Pops, and it is revealed that back in the 80s he was normal. Anyway, they try to send the prank caller to the 60s, but they fail once again. So he starts chasing them, and they try to flee with a golf cart. And the prank caller calls them every 5 seconds, and he turns them into 80s animals. Rigby then uses the phone to call for help, and somehow he can call the present Pops, Benson, and Skips. How is that possible? Oh wait, I forgot, it's surreal. Logic is completely irrelevant here. After that, Mordecai and Rigby run over the 80s Pops, and he becomes mentally retarded. Do these two feel any remorse for ruining the life of their friend? No, nothing. They just don't care. This is the reason why I hate these two so much. Mordecai and Rigby are such assholes that they make me feel sorry for characters that don't even have a personality. Anyway, they defeat the prank caller and they leave the 80s through a door. But before that, Rigby and Mordecai decide to save the prank caller so that they can prank call Benson. Gee, what friends he has. This is the second worst episode of the show. Next episode, Dizzy. Pops has to do a speech, but he doesn't want to do it, since he is scared of crowds. Anyway, our two losers try to help Pops, but they fail. Once again, Darren Rigby says Pops should spin in circles because... I don't know. Because. So he gets dizzy and he falls through the ground, and he enters a world where he meets a realistic version of Mordecai and Rigby, and they don't behave like jerks here. Anyway, it is revealed that Pops is unconscious. Wait a second. Maybe this episode is different. Maybe this episode will use its realism in a dream, so that the show would make more sense. Are my hopes too high? Of course they are. Rigby uses a marker to draw on Pops. Wow, what an ass. You have to do that on drunk people, Rigby. So Rigby and Mordecai start to spin until they get dizzy and they fall into Pops. They want to save Pops, but he wants to stay in that world because the people here are nicer. Anyway, Pops has a speech in front of Mordecai and Rigby, and having a speech isn't allowed in this world. Because of that, the things in this world start attacking Pops. But he is saved. Now they draw his face on the back of his head, and he has a speech, and our two super zeros start spinning so that they can go back into the other world. Why? Don't ask me. Logic is completely irrelevant. Remember that. Next episode, My Mom. So our two super zeros fail to bring a lemon tree to the park, and Benson orders Muscle Man to supervise them. They slack all the time and they become friends. But Mordecai is bothered by the my mom jokes, and he tells Muscle Man that he is studying rum, and he gives him examples. High Five Ghost warns them, but they ignore him. So Muscleman gets angry because they insulted his mom, and he calls his brother who comes with a truck from hell. And they punish the two, so they have to eat a photo of Muscleman's mom. But it is revealed that that is just a joke and the picture was Muscleman's ass. How's that possible? Muscleman is green, and the picture shows us face with purple skin. Ouch, my brain! So Mordecai says, I hate Muscleman. And Rigby says, you know who also hates Muscleman? And the episode ends there. Next episode, Benson be gone. Mr. Miller is telling Benson that he is not satisfied because Rigby and Mordecai are destroying the park. Yes, Benson, if you would have done your job and fired the unqualified workers, then this wouldn't happen to you. And shortly after that, Mordecai and Rigby crash with Mr. Millet's limo into the room. So Benson loses his job as a manager and becomes a co-worker of the people who ruined his life. Oh good God. The next day, Mr. Miller introduces them to Susan, who is now the park manager. And she is my favorite character from this show. And now Benson becomes a slacker and he refuses to work and he loses his job. After that, Benson is alone in the park and he meets a hobo and he tells him how wonderful it is to be a slacker. And Benson realizes that slackers are losers. So he goes back and tries to get his job back. He finds Mordecai and Rigby transformed into Susan. Susan arrives and Benson convinces everyone to be a slacker, so they turn back. Susan shows her true nature and it is revealed that she is a demon. So out of all the places in the world, a demon attacks a park. Anyway, Benson tries to save everyone, but the hobo from the park pushes him out of the car and he defeats Susan and is killed. And everything is back to normal and nobody gives a crap about the hobo that sacrificed himself for them. This episode is also bad, but it is the best episodes from the ones I have seen. You wanna know why? Because this episode didn't focus on Mordecai and Rigby but on Benson. That's the only reason. Next episode, Grilled Cheese Deluxe. So in this episode, our super zeros eat a grilled sandwich that Rigby stole from Benson. So Rigby says that lying is his specialty, but Benson doesn't fall for it, so they have to get a new sandwich. Anyway, Mordecai punches Rigby in the stomach. This is perhaps the best moment from the whole show. So they compete against each other to see who's better at lying. And they lie about being astronauts since those don't have to wait in line. Their lies lead them to an astronaut compound where everyone's lives are soon put at risk because they are so stupid and mess with the experiments. In the end, the sandwich is ruined and they lie to Benson straight in his face. So the moral of this episode is keep lying until you are drowning in crap. And now let me describe to you the worst episode of this show. Brain Eraser. Mordecai and Rigby find Pop's magazine and Mordecai brings it to Pop's room and he sees Pop's naked. Yuck. Mordecai tells him what happened and Rigby laughs and asks him about Pop's junk. Why do you want to know that, Rigby? Are you hiding in the closet? So Mordecai tries to forget this, but everywhere he goes, he sees naked Pops. And sadly, the viewers also see him in all poses. Why is this on Cartoon Network? Rigby sees that the employee got his brain sucked out by an anime videotape. Mordecai gets his brain sucked out, but it doesn't happen in the same way as it happened to the employee. You know why? Because the employee could answer your questions. However, Mordecai just drivels. Wait, how's that possible? This show doesn't follow its own rules. Good God, ouch, my brain will explode. After a few hours, Rigby finally realizes that something is wrong, so he asks Skips for help. And they get their brains sucked out too. And they find Mordecai immediately. Wait a second. He stayed in the same place for several hours. How about trying to find your way out? Good God, he's so useless. If he was trapped on a deserted island, he would probably wait there in the same place for a few days, and after that he would say, I'm thirsty, and would go into the ocean and drink salt water until he wouldn't just plop over and die. Anyway, Rigby and Skips are now in Mordecai's memory. Wait a second. Wouldn't it make more sense that everyone would be trapped in their own memory? I'm sorry, I can't switch off my brain. Anyway, they now run after Naked Pups, and Mordecai starts remembering obstacles to stop Naked Pups. So they are now in a golf cart once again, and they drive off a cliff, and Mordecai covers Pups with a blanket, and this removes his memory somehow. He then remembers a bouncy castle, and they are saved. Wait a second. What is missing in this scene? I give you 2 hints. It has 4 wheels, and it fell off the cliff. Yes, the golf cart just disappeared. Now they have to push the videotape out, and they are returned to their world again. After that, Mordecai says something that contradicts itself in the following sentence.
It's gone! Naked Pops is gone! I don't remember it anymore!
You know how this episode should have been called? Brain Destroyer. And now let's talk about the other problems with this show. The characters were created just to be weird. If you don't believe me, then watch the cartoon that the show's creator made in 2007. It features 2 men doing acid, and they turn into Mordecai, Benson and Mr. Pops. It's just weird and it has no humor. And they say the F word 8 times. Anyway, after the acid loses its effect, the cartoon ends. Wait, this isn't the end. Maybe something interesting will happen. This cartoon is freaking terrible. How can people laugh at this? It just blows my mind, seriously. Also, once you get used to the weirdness, you see that this show is very bland because it's relying only on weirdness and nothing else. In fact, I think it should be called The Regular Show. I don't see the point why this show one of a sudden becomes an acid trip in the middle of the episode. The setting and the characters in this show are already weird, so it would make more sense if it would be an acid trip from the start to the end. This show really reminds me of Felix the Cat the movie. Why? Watch the movie, you'll see why. Also, the animation in this show looks cheap and bland. Well, most shows that are now on Cartoon Network have horrible animation or horrible character design. So this is just a minor nitpick. Also, everything in this show looks like it has a layer of dust on it. As I already mentioned, this show has also many fan tarts that behave like they are 6 years old. There is a huge difference between a fan tart and a fan. Fans know that there are people that don't like what they like, and they don't attack you for your opinion. Fan tarts are the obsessive fans that take opinions as a personal insult, and the only opinions they tolerate are the ones they agree with. In other words, they attack everybody on YouTube that doesn't say that Regular Show is amazing. Yes, because not liking this show is taboo. Most fantarts are kids around the age of 12, and I've had quite some interesting conversations with them. However, there are also the older fan arts, and boy are they immature and hypocritical. If somebody says this is a kid show, they say it's made for adults. Okay, but if somebody who's older than 15 criticizes this show, they say that it's a kid show and they need to get a life. Make up your damn mind! To me, regular show and Adventure Time have the worst fan bases when it comes to animated shows. Forget anime, forget Family Guy, forget the new Looney Tunes show, forget Brownies. These two shows have the most stubborn fans of them all. From all the comments I have received, I have to say that around 5% of the whole fan base are normal fans. The rest are fantards. I know how this feels. I used to be a fan of Happy Tree Friends. It sucked. Also, for some reason, these fantards think that the reason why people don't like regular show is because they are nostalgic and don't give any new show a chance. Are you kidding me? If you really think that this is the reason why people don't like your shows, then you're not dumb. No, you are straight up idiot. And the 90s weren't perfect. No decade is. I am actually going to make a top 10, maybe even a top 20 list of the worst cartoons from the 90s. And a few shows that are going to be on that list are even worse than a regular show. The weirdness in this show is neither funny nor is it creative. It's just like those horror movies that aren't scary but are gross for the sake of being gross, like the Human Centipede 2. Also, several people say they watch this show since it's full of stupid stuff. Okay, pulling the stupid card really isn't a good thing, since every year we have several movies that do that. And guess what? They are horrible. And surprisingly, several people said something like, well, I'd rather watch Cartoon Network than Nickelodeon. So in other words, I have the option of choosing between wearing clothes made out of poisonous ivy or eating a bucket of raw steaming needle. You know, instead of choosing who's the lesser of two evils, I'd rather avoid both of them if possible. Another thing that bothers me is the message of this show. Why? Because this show is saying that first, doing your job is a waste of time. Second, you have to rely on others to do your job. Third, use and lie to others to get what you want. And fourth, mentally challenged people with brain tumors are jesters. In my opinion, it is not suitable for the majority of viewers of Cartoon Network. Most cartoons have adult jokes, but they are done in a way that kids wouldn't get them. Regular show, on the other hand, presents everything on a silver platter. And this is a genius move because kids think that inappropriate things are better. It's the same reason why Happy Tree Friends, Broken Side, Blood on the Dance Floor and Ruka Ruka Ali are popular. Also, I think that Cartoon Network does have a slight problem with this show, since the P word and sentences like how in the H will we solve this S are only present in the first episodes of season 1. They just allowed that word so that kids would take the bait and jump on the bandwagon. That's it. However, since the majority of kids that are watching Cartoon Network are too young to watch this show, I think that the writers should have known better. In my opinion, it isn't a kids show. It is completely unsuitable for kids under the age of 10, in my opinion. The European Cartoon Network never had TV guidelines. Even though they used to show cartoons that were banned in the United States of America. And guess what happened the day that a regular show premiered? Since the premiere of this show, every show has a rating that shows the recommended minimum age of the viewer, and regular show has the age limit 12 plus. Also, the version of regular show that I receive on TV is the censored version. In other words, Cartoon Network Europe refuses to show the uncensored version. Yeah, it's totally a kid show. Most viewers of this show are around the age of 12. You know, the preteens that laugh at everything, especially random things and swear words. In other words, the same people that are entertained by people like Shane Dawson, Ray William Johnson, PewDiePie, and other YouTube celebrities that make me facepalm. But you know, what's the good thing about these people? The majority of them will in a few years mature, and they will no longer like this show. I used to be obsessed with Happy Tree Friends for 5 years. I even wanted to get a Happy Tree Friends tattoo. And if somebody would have asked me back then if I am going to like this show forever, I would have said yes. However, I matured, and I am asking myself now, what did I even see in that show? And the same thing is going to happen to the majority of the fans that are now complaining in the comment section. So yeah, bottom line, regular show is a show that is mediocre at best, and I hate it with a passion. And no amount of butthurt brats in the comment section is going to make me shut up. However, that doesn't mean I have a problem with the normal fans of this show. Thank heavens that there are some regular show fans that know what the word opinion means, and that they can respect opinions that they don't agree with. With that said, I'm going to end this video. I can already hear the fantards raging at me in the comment section. So, let the bitching begin.